Hey, happy Easter, everyone. Hope it's all... Max didn't even react. I've been doing this far too long. Jeez, at least I thought I'd get a reaction from him. Anyway, so happy New Year, everyone. I hope, obviously, everyone here has survived it, which is always a good thing. Hope you had fun. Hope that you have also been able to participate in what we've been doing for the last few days, which, as a matter of fact, is the first item on our top 10-ish list. I know that because I added that item. The first item, number 1, tech, 3 days of testing. So yes, we welcomed in the new year with a test on Wednesday, followed by a test yesterday, followed by another test today, and maybe another test a little bit later today of yet again another build that we're working on. If you've been in it, you've seen the version 0.1 of our Siege system. We talked about this certainly last year, about how this was about 10 days worth of work. We already have new versions of it on Hatchery and on Ben's machine. So yeah, lots of testing, lots of abilities, trebuchets, the occasional bug getting stuck in behind a wall or falling through a stair. But that's what we expect, and it's good to find this all now. The great news, servers have been running really well, not 100% like they usually run, but we're trying a lot of new stuff. But great, and as we've been getting more than a few anecdotal reports from folks, the 64-bit client is just running perfectly. So that's number 1. Number 2, a work-in-progress tech item, building destruction improvements. So yes, if you've been in any of the builds in the last week, you've seen what I call bouncy castles, where you can use your abilities or a trebuchet to essentially make a giant rocket ship out of the keep, which then bounces, can be sent up into the air, comes down to the ground, bounces, and eventually, goes bye-bye. Andrew's got multiple rounds of improvements going in. We already have one round at least on what a prep that we're testing right now. If that goes well, we'll invite backers in, but expect lots and lots of changes to bouncy castles. So enjoy them while they last. They won't be lasting long. Number 3, work in progress, art and design, new Siege scenario test map. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed the, as I said this morning, the tale in the desert, where the castle was really set on a very sparse island. We have now moved it to a different location. So there are a lot more trees and flowers and other things added that will obviously make it feel much more like a real game, but also stress the engine more. And as you folks know us, wanting to stress the engine more is something we embrace rather than run away from. Number 4, work in progress tech, lighting effects. So George greatly improved the visual quality of our guard rays, the light shaft. He also added a J.J. Abrams style lens flare, so thank you, JJ. And these things are currently on Hatchery. Best part, if you can get the timing just right, you can make your character look like Cyclops from X-Men. It was really cool. But again, work in progress, first pass. We told you folks, and I actually during my brief live streaming during break, I said that graphical improvements were on the way. There's one of them. Number 5, another work in progress, the crafting UI. The totally new crafting UI is moving along nicely. And so AJ's got an iteration in review. So yeah, if you've enjoyed crafting up to now, a new and better interface is coming in. If you haven't enjoyed it up to now, hopefully it wasn't just because of the interface, because the guys who put that together really put a lot of effort into it, and we thank them for it. but try it under the new UI. But no matter what, this is still the, again, maybe not an 0.1, but still a very early version of the UI and the crafting system. Number 6, another tech item, Platypus export and import functionality. Yeah, you know, those platypi are really doing lots of good things for us. You know, they had to jump through some hoops to get them hired properly. And what do you do when you have an item that says that? So just so you know, Platypus is an internal tool we use to spin up a client and server locally. Obviously something that the developers here have to do is, hey, have their own versions of things that they can break without breaking the rest of the game or breaking a live build. So, you know, we get to spin up our own little worlds to mess with. And Platypus is a tool that makes it so much easier. Number 7, item DB upgrades. So, to quote, Christina finished up some work to ensure we don't get any more angry Mongo slowdowns. And if you don't have cookies, Mongo gets very angry. Come on, it's a new year.
Can we add an aux mount with a yes and
we
no
should.
side?
I mean, we should absolutely do that. If nothing else, just for fun, and let people be able to knock it out. What a great movie that was.
Yeah.
Amazing. Number 8, passive alert system and work in progress building mode material replacement. So what does that mean? Because that, I think, is the longest title we have on any of our items. JB added functionality for sending passive alert messages from the game server to the client. This will be used for displaying alert text on screen for gameplay notifications. So, yeah, that. Number 9, another work in progress, Siege Engine Trebuchet. So, Scott's been working on improving the first pass of the Trebuchets. The version we have right now is more broken, so that's great. So the improvements continue. No, that's already been fixed. I believe that's already been fixed, or is certainly going to be fixed. So yes, more improvements to the Trebuchet, to the basic VFX, new Siege engines coming in as well over the next few months. Number 10, an odd item, Animation 2.0, updated style and timing support. So, we held off, of course, of putting in Characters 2.0 before break. We wanted to make sure we could have testing of the Siege over break as well as early this year. So now we're going to put in other stuff that, of course, can break the build, which is the Character 2.0 stuff. So in this case, what I just referred to was an updated work on a two-handed sword. Another mage sighting, a work in progress, mage shared casting, where Scott is animating the secondary skirt and cape animations on our mage casting animations, and then updated scorpion animations. Number 11, another Character 2.0, better looking and more performant characters with Lucapan rigging and female NPC and Flame Warden wands. So once again, mage sighting, still shooting for it for the end of the month. Number 12, work in progress, new classes. Now, obviously not new, but to quote TV parlance, new to you, meaning that Ben continued to work on the Shapeshifter classes this week and is chomping at the bit. I didn't write that. Chomping at the bit, they wrote that. To begin working with the in-progress ability editor, which will speed up ability creation. Last but not least, another work in progress, support class skill icons. So this week, Mr. Koo finished off the minstrel icons and has begun work on the Dark Fool. Getting some of the required UI aspects assets done earlier will obviously make it easier as we actually put those classes into development. So when I said last year that, boy, the beginning of the year was going to start, with a bang and a boom, and would certainly get off to a good start, Well, we have. We've had 24 hours, well, not 24 yet, but it will be almost 24 hours of testing in the last few days. We've got a lot of new stuff going in on, at this point, a daily basis. And I'm going to try very hard not to sneeze. Sorry. And we've got a lot more stuff coming. So that's it. Let's get to the Q&A. And I don't know if it'll be a long or a short one today.
Give us your questions. People are excited about Dark Fool and Minstrel. They can tell you're in a good mood.
Oh, yeah. Well, one, I'm back at work. And as people know, I do kind of spend a lot of time here. I love what I'm doing. I love the team. And the vast majority of time, I love all of our backers. So it's fun. And it is just blowing up stuff again, seeing the real game. It's just fun again.
Boozway asks, will we see ramming siege?
Ramming speed, yes. We're gonna, you're gonna get a little chain and Ben-Hur reference. Ramming speed. Right. Sorry. Yes. Well, I go off for a couple weeks, and then the film references just go.
I actually don't know if I've seen Ben-Hur.
Oh.
I know that's shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking. Classic. Charlton Heston. The new one wasn't great, but the old one is a little corny, but it has its moments. Anyway, yes, we will have rams. They will be used and controlled by multiple people, and yes, you'll have to get up to speed and ram things.
Lodoween asks, will we continue to have crafter style boom boom in the tests going forward, and for how long?
Crafter style boom boom? What am I missing?
Maybe the bomb things, the presents?
Do you mean bombs? Boom boom? Not quite sure what that means. So we'll get back to you.
All right, we'll get back to that one, Lodoween. Oh yeah, Lodoween says yes, the bombs.
Yes, we are going to have bombs. We will have real, explosions. We'll have different types of bombs. We're going to take the sapper thing to earlier, to where we're going to take it. We're actually going to be one of those things we're going to get to earlier than I initially expected we would, and maybe even better than I expected, but certainly earlier than I expected. And remember, this town, state, leisure gear can be yours too. No, it can't be. Not yet. Though we still should do it. We need to get some swag going. But yes, sappers, whether it's crafters with an ability to be sappers, or tying that into the classes, will continue to happen. Just kind of necessary and fun.
Svarty asks, will we see any mounter combat? I want to lance some fools.
I would love to have mounted combat, but that for now is not a thing we're focusing on.
Rahalden asks, is the one health bar subject to change? What's in the making regarding conveying damage?
So yeah, it's all subject to change. UI elements and hit locations, that's all subject to change. Again, I say this all the time, so sorry if I sounded times like a broken record. But any of that stuff is not critical to the game's vision or the design. Critical, obviously, to its success, but not to the vision. Vision is a word that I use very carefully, and it is not something that I think should almost ever be so controlling that the person or persons responsible for it are unwilling to, take advice, make changes. So, yes, it's in for, that is something we are going with for now, both of those things, but it doesn't mean that's, permanent.
On the YouTube chat, Sergio Abel asks, is there going to be any kind of realm abilities system?
Well, if you're talking about like realm ranks, like Dark Age of Camelot had, well, the whole game obviously has that. If you mean specific realm abilities, yes, of course. We are a non-mirrored game, so classes will have specific abilities that are geared to not only their classes, but come from their realms as well.
Tolf asks, is it part of a fight when the combat mode of a building part is gone that you are able to repair it? For example, if the fight takes place in another part of the castle.
Yeah, great question. So once a castle, once a structure is under attack, it's all in combat mode essentially. So whatever rules apply for one place will apply to other places. Otherwise, it would get kind of silly. Because obviously we want people to absolutely have some ability to repair things during combat, but we don't want it to the point of true silliness where it's the attackers are using trebuchets and all these things, the siege engines to damage a building, and then the crafters can just come by and wave their hands a little, and then it gets repaired. So things like blocking out the entire space and different repair times. All of that has to be factored in order to have a siege that really makes sense. Because what's the point of having or spending time on great siege engines is if all it takes is a couple of crafters hiding safely behind the walls to repair the damage that might take longer to be created by the attackers.
Scott Florence asks, what are you most looking forward to in the first quarter of 2019?
Sieges, baby, sieges. That's it. By far, number one, even with the crafting system, even with the work I'm doing on a graphic novel, by far it's sieges. I want to blow shit up. I want to, unleash hell. I want, to be part of a siege where we have hundreds of people standing around a castle on the inside, on the outside, hurling rocks at each other, watching magic fly off in all sorts of directions, and then part of the wall crumble, or the entire wall crumble. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to be a part of. That is, without a doubt, the thing I am looking forward to most for the first quarter. And it's tough because both with crafting and graphic novel stuff, I'll be heavily involved in that and want to have and have been looking forward to getting back to doing, that stuff, especially on the crafting system.
Mr. Wonderful asks, with there being tab targeting for ranged attacks, will there be improvement to non-tab target skills which allows for better aiming?
Oh my God, of course. I mean, and that's why we said we need to have a combination. Tab targeting is useless in a block-by-block building game because you simply can't click through all those blocks. That would be so badly painful, or involve such interesting key combinations that to make it basically not a lot of fun to play it. So yes, more accurate aiming for certain abilities, as well as also continued improvement on tab targeting for others, is the way we're going to go.
Jack Mode asks, general question. Any thoughts on the rise in toxicity within various gaming communities, especially MMOs and MOBAs? Does CSE have a plan for curbing potential toxicity in CU, especially since it's primarily PvP driven?
Yeah, I hate it. I've seen toxicity in online communities, frankly, forever. I think it's definitely worse now, but if you look at the general toxicity in our country and in other countries in the world, thanks in part, only in part, to social media, we human beings can't just blame someone else for our abilities to be civil, or even relatively civil. So yeah, I think it's a terrible thing. I think some of us should be ashamed of ourselves, quite frankly. It's something I have seen forever, and usually there's no cause for it. There are always exceptions. So what are we going to do? Look, the same thing we did back at Mythic, and the same thing I did at AUSI. We're not going to stand for it. If people are going to be really abusive, we're going to get rid of them. It's one thing, to be in a competitive environment like an RV or a PvP game. And it's another thing to just act like a dick. And, again, sometimes people start something, and then you want to respond. Other times people are just being nasty to be nasty, and really nasty. And as you guys know and gals know who backed the original, Dark Age of Camelot by being our players, we had a tri-realm system where you couldn't talk to the other side. And I took a lot of grief for that. I was mocked incessantly, thank you, on places like the Vault and others for it not being a real PvP game because you couldn't say mean things to people because you couldn't understand the enemy. Well, we're doing the same thing here. So, if you want to be toxic in what you say, go somewhere else or just don't say it. If you just want to be competitive and win a lot, great, fantastic. These are competitive games, and I'm all for that. But the toxicity, we can do without. And so we will have a strict policy on our forums. It's something that serves none of us. It really doesn't. Not in gaming. We're all better than this. And so I really I hate to see it. I hate to see it, especially among people like ourselves, who as gamers, especially if you're older or old, you've seen the evolution of gaming culture from being the "oh my God, you're a gamer" to "oh my God, you're a gamer." I mean, that sort of thing. And so I would love to see us as a community do even better. But we'll do our bit. But great question. Thank you.
Alvin 21112 asks, how long do you think it will be for the stealth classes to be implemented?
That's a fair question. It's not one I'm willing to talk about yet. We've got to get everything in that we have promised would be in for launch, and we'll see where we're at. Again, one of the things I've said before, and it still absolutely holds true now, is that because our game is not heavily quest driven, and because it's not heavily class or racially based, heavy in terms of racially based armor or weapons, getting in classes, while not easy because we have a complicated system, is still easier than it might be in other games. So keep your fingers crossed. We might see them earlier if we get lucky.
Andrew Cortesia asks, how was the dinner you went to with Lady J after the impromptu stream during the holiday break?
Crap. Where did we go on Saturday night?
Oh, I thought that was the answer for a second.
No. It was, I'm trying to remember. So that was Saturday, and the boy wasn't home yet. And, trying to remember where we went. Adri, do you remember if I said where we were going? Oh, darn. Grumble. Oh, wait, maybe it was. No, got it. Michael was home. We went to, yes, we went to seafood. It was delicious. Sorry, I streamed that time. Right. Got it. It was great.
It's Hex asks, A lot of games don't focus on UI. Majority of people are turned off from games simply because of the UI. What kind of work is going to go into polishing the UI?
Great question. Couldn't agree with you more. UI can be a pain in the ass in certain games, and it makes you want to quit. It's something I would call, and I've used this, use it all the time, a quit point, because you're just playing it, and you're having to fight the UI, and you're going, I don't need to do this anymore. There's something else I can play that I'll enjoy myself more in. So what have we done? Well, the first thing we did, as you folks know who've been long-term backers, extremely patient, we love you, thank you. You know that we started off with the concept of building the UI out of the web, making it very extensible. We're continuing with the latter, certainly. We ripped out Ceph and have put in Coherent as the basic driver of the UI system, but still keeping all the flexibility. So we care a lot about it. We're putting a lot of effort into it. We absolutely believe in modability. As you folks know, the mod squad and all that has been just fantastic for us. So that will continue. I think we'll go through other iterations, many other iterations before launch. But we're going to do, this is one of those statements that's going to come off as really easy to say, but I think we can back it up, and we've already shown that we can back it up. Our intent is, has always been, to have the most moddable and modded UI of any game that's launched, when it launches. We want to spend the time. We are spending the time to do that. We've encouraged, and will continue to encourage people to help us out and to help expand and build our system. I can't, you never want to say any one thing is the most important thing when it comes to the game other than stability in an MMO. But this is a big one, and we put a lot of effort into that in my other games, and we certainly are going to put in even greater effort in this one. Thank you. I don't get asked that a lot.
Bumble asks, will we be having Saturday night sieges going forwards?
Well, that's what we're working on. We're getting to that point. As you know, we've been in, again, 24 hours worth, 3 days, 8 hours a day of testing. We're almost there to a build that we can say it could be the first official SNS. So it won't be much longer. Next week, we'll have the updated, we may test it today, but certainly next week we'll be testing an updated build, which will have better looking terrain, better looking setting, excuse me, for this scenario. We've got the building destruction fixes I mentioned already going in. So yeah, we are getting really close to the SNSs. And we will continue, no matter what, having lots more tests during the week, just as I promised you folks, and Beta 2 people. Yep, you'll be coming in very shortly.
Necron asks, when do we expect to have the skill crafting ready for testing?
Check back with me next week. We've got the editor going in on our end, so let's see how that goes, and then maybe I'll be able to give you a better date. It won't be long.
Man Down Sun has kind of a long message, but I think the question is just in the first line. Newer to following this game and hope to main a healer. I was wondering if this game would have customizable party frames.
Okay, so healers, great, fantastic. Love to get more healers into the game. In terms of what you can do with the UI, that I've just addressed. We're going to make it very, very easy for you folks to do things. From our end, in terms of making it easy to heal members of your party, we're going to have healer vision, which we've talked about, which will make it easier and different, we hope, to heal. Well, maybe not easier, because some of the ways I've seen healers can heal in certain games, it's really just a bit too easy. but expect a lot of effort on that because that's very important to us. Healers are crucial, definitely. There are some classes you could actually make a good game like this without. Healers are not one of them. So expect continuing efforts on them, lots of efforts on them.
First Centurion asks, remember the hilarious death cries of players in Mage Storm? We'll see you have death cries from enemies/allies.
They will indeed have death cries and curses and other things we've mentioned. Glad you remembered that. Mage Storm was so much fun. Such a fun game.
Grim Reaper Lives asks, will we ever see a class like a Paladin? And I don't mean a Daok Paladin, but a class that can use two-handers or sword and board with healing spells and buffs.
I think you should look at some of the descriptions of the classes and let me know what you think.
Sergio on the YouTube chat asks, will you be able to combine different spells by two different mages?
Yes. Already a thing in planning. The ability of mages to work together, crafters to work together, is an important one. Not crucial. We could lose it, but it is one that I would like to see in the game. I think when you look at sieges, you want to, in our case, continue to try to think outside the box for typical sieges, and the idea of mages working together to hoist a massive spell into the air that then rumbles, bumbles, and stumbles essentially towards the keep, which can then be affected via the air system. Kind of a good thing. So the answer is yes.
Adil on the YouTube chat asks, first 3 months is sieges. Then are we going to expect the game release this year?
The game release is absolutely something that is, if we want to get it this year, which we've said is still in the area of possibility, is absolutely dependent on nothing majorly bad happening and hiring some additional people. We're doing everything we can to hire those additional people. But things have to go right. We have to get every break we can possibly get, and no major refactors. And hopefully no minor ones either.
A few different people are asking if you've played or tried out Atlas.
No, not yet. I was definitely interested. Still am interested in what I've heard about it. Heard they had some issues with their softish launch. I'm waiting to see what happens, but I may participate. Over the break, I decided to take up something different for a couple of days and start playing Subnautica, which has been a lot of fun.
Reckon on the YouTube chat asks, will kills reward you with the corpse flying around in ragdoll physics?
So what happens to a body afterwards has been a subject of discussion here, and we don't want everyone ragdolling over the screen because that looks kind of silly, but there are already plans for some Easter eggy kind of thing, as well as some fun things. So expect something more than just you die and fall down to the ground. It will be a combination of things, but it won't be full ragdoll. Everyone dies and starts, bouncy castling it across the landscape, because that would get old really fast.
Saya OUO asks, how far are you along with your plans to outsource a chunk of the art pipeline?
Well, actually, not at all. And one of the reasons not at all is that we've also been doing some stuff with some people in-house on, for example, the tabletop game, and now we're doing some work on a graphic novel. And these people, if things go well, could also transition and help out in the main game. So for now, no plans. At some point, yeah, we're absolutely going to have to do it. But it's the same thing I've said before. Until we get all the lighting and everything done in terms of putting the artist in a position of knowing that if they create things a certain way, they will look that way in the game. When we can reach that point, that's the point we can start to look at outsourcing, but not before.
Critical Danny asks, after SNS is implemented and we can enjoy them with all the cool stuff we've been testing, when can we see the new character models and animations?
Well, we're working on that right now. So you should have hopefully all of the work we've done on 2.0 in the next couple months.
This is funny. Jack Mode says, Mark plays Subnautica, Wave Weaver bias confirmed.
I just started, so you know, I'd love to tie it into a bias. If you could find a bias for No Man's Sky, because I played a lot of that, then, you know, that would be a good reference. But unfortunately for, you know, Subnautica, I literally just started over break. So.
Svarty has a general sort of question.
Mayhem.
What's that?
Mayhem. General mayhem.
You know, that might be an answer. How hard do you want your classes / game to be? Easy to play, hard to master. What level of complexity?
Yeah, easy to play, hard to master would be something we talked about during the Kickstarter. That would be the goal. Will we get there? Don't know. We'll have to see. When you're doing a horizontal system, as we are, it should be easier to play and harder to master. Now we'll see if we can pull it off.
Feel free to, if I skipped your question, repost it, guys. Scrolled past, a few of them scrolled past me.
Tell Max he's too old to keep up.
Definitely. Or we're too popular.
There you go.
Triple Q asks, is there a way to make mods for the game, but lock it to a certain guild?
My short answer to that is no, but JB would know that. Is it something that could be done? Sure. Not sure we'd want it to be done, but in theory we could put support for that. Interesting question. Thank you.
Love Pack wants to know, what is the best Tuatha De Danann class to troll their friends with?
Right now, none of them, because they're not in. Who knows? You know, maybe we'll have trolls, but they wouldn't be TDD. Well, they could be, but depends how you want to look at trolls.
Mark C. asks, in Daok it was possible to hold off a Zerg with a group of 8 skilled players. Are you leaning toward having the same outcome in CU?
That's a very short, simple question. Lots of ramifications. So, tentatively or carefully, I say yes. A smaller group of players should absolutely be able to defeat a larger group of not as skilled and coordinated players. But, again, that's a very simple answer to a very complicated question. Because there are ways to do things in Daok that we might not want to see here. So, but yes, my core belief has always been that a smaller group of players who are more skilled, who can coordinate their attacks better, should be able to defeat a larger group of players.
Mogul Prince says, fantastic to hear. Let's see. Are you a Crispy Taco TV wants to know if you're planning to play Classic WoW when it launches?
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. I haven't been on vanilla in a while, and I still have my, regular Blizzard account and WoW account. But yeah, when it goes classic, I'm sure. I mean, I got a little bit of my, nostalgia on the vanilla servers, but I still enjoyed it. And if there are people who want to play, maybe I'll join in because I still enjoy it.
Lights Out 1 asks, when will the game be playable on a daily basis? And is this still an inappropriate question?
No, it's not inappropriate at all. Did I ever say it was inappropriate? I hope not. It's a perfectly appropriate question. It's just not necessarily one I can answer. So, on a daily basis, if you mean all day, 24 hours a day, that ain't going to happen for a long time. Mainly because of the expense. Running the servers all day, especially via the cloud, is a considerable expense. The second reason not to do it is, of course, there's not enough there yet. This week we've tested now 3 of the 5 days that we've been in the office. 3 of the 3 days we've been in the office, 3 of the 5 days of the week, and it was open for 8 hours. We're going to do more of that, and certainly longer tests on the weekend as we move through Beta 1.
Jack Mode asks, I feel silhouetting is important, especially with so many races and classes.
Mm-hmm.
If CU has transmog for gear, are there plans to keep the silhouettes for characters within reason?
So, keep in mind that the silhouettes of the character, because you can wear different armor, and now armor isn't class or racially locked in general, the same way it is in other games. That part of the silhouette doesn't matter as much. Because, if you're used to seeing, hey, that's a fighter because he's wearing this and his shoulder pads come out to, 80s style, then that won't work in this game. On the other hand, if the silhouette is more based on the size of the character, we're going to go up fairly high with the giants and fairly short with the Lucapants. So that is going to be, obviously quite important for the racial silhouettes, and then the silhouettes based on gear are going to be less important because, again, not locking.
Blaine on the YouTube chat asks, will a game controller make sense in this game, or will there be too many skills to choose from in a given moment?
Too many to choose from. It doesn't mean that it's not doable, but, depending on really how you set up your tune, depending on your play style, yeah, sure, it could absolutely work. But, for a lot of people, it probably won't.
Jewel asks, how will the game handle spy alts in other factions? Will they have an impact on gameplay like in EVE Online, for example?
Yeah, that's always a problem, right? How do you, deal with people who, are playing on one server and then want to create a spy alt on another server? We can't stop it unless we, see that people are cheating. Because since this is a server-based game, you can have multiple characters on multiple servers. We're not locking people just to one server. If we know that it's going on, certainly we would take action. If somebody in the realm points out that, hey, there's this person who's, on another realm, on this other server, and they've just created a spy alt here, we would certainly look into that. That would be a spirit of the game violation. But in terms of any technical way of preventing that, there certainly are ways to try to, but that involves parsing text and doing all the things that you would need to do to detect it. But we'll rely on spirit of the game and then strong punishments if it happens.
Scorpos has a follow-up. There are realm locks, though, on each server, correct?
Oh, God, yeah, of course. Yeah, we've said that right from the beginning. You can only play on one realm on one server. But if your mains are on one server, and then you want to help out some buddies from your guild by who might be on the same realm on a different server, and then you create a character for another realm to spy and give information to your buddies. That's what I thought you were referring to. But of course, oh my God, one server, one realm. You have no choice. That's something that you can't buy your way out of. There are no packages or anything else that would allow you to have multiple characters on have characters from different realms on the same server.
Critical Danny asks, I've asked this before, and it's not to be annoying, but how is the work on the Ulfjevnar coming along?
Yeah, not annoying at all.
It's the only race on the Viking side I'm very excited for.
Yeah, so are we. We're going to get back to the Vikings. Max is, I know, working on a new Vikings race story. I've got some thoughts on a different Viking race. We've heard that you Vikings are kind of depressed and a lonely bunch, and you feel that you haven't been getting quite the attention, from CSE in terms of, your races that other realms have been getting. So we're gonna give it some love.
Svarty asks, are you happy right now with the visibility of characters and what realm they are in at the moment? Personally, I'm having problems at a distance.
Am I happy with the visibility of characters? To be honest with you, I don't have an answer for that because I haven't been focusing on that. We don't cull, so I'm not sure why you might be thinking you're having, why you are having issues, unless you've set your render distance really low. We still have a few minutes. Give me a little more detail on that, because when I've been playing, I don't have a problem with seeing people, in the distance. But I'm interested in hearing what you think is happening. Oh, what is happening?
Let's see. Lotaween asks, does Mike ever get into the tests when he's home? And can you share any memorable experiences you have had while playing together with him, whether CU or earlier?
No, he doesn't. Mike, Mike plays other people's games, not because he's not interested, but he's played, when he was younger, he was not much of an MMOer, though he did play a little RuneScape, and you couldn't play Dark Age or Warhammer, well, certainly not Dark Age, and I think most of Warhammer, at least while I was still at EA, from our house shed, because we didn't have a good enough internet connection. Mike and I have played some strategy games and other games, but not a lot, together recently. And no good stories. I wish I did have a good story. I don't have a good story.
I've got some quick yes/no questions.
Sure.
Tapa hacks.
Oh, wait. Before that, and just to be clear, Mike would kick my ass in most of the games he plays, by the way, because they're FPSs. And, yeah, I don't have the reflexes anymore. Maybe when I was younger, I could kick his ass. I don't know. But right now, or at any time since he's been playing, yeah, reflex is just way better than mine. Okay, yes, no is.
All right, we've got some quick yes/no questions.
No, yes, no, yes.
Okay, done. Tapex asks, server like Mordred.
We should. It's up to you folks, but we should.
Mark C. Will there be alliances within realms that are player created like Daok?
Oh, we've got something even better.
Boosway, will there be some caravan aspect to the game, like something you can attack or trade?
Oh my God, absolutely. It's an important part of the system. And we've talked about it even in the beginning.
Jewel asks, when can we expect for a new gameplay video like Beta 1 launch this summer? Think we are all waiting to see how the game looks.
Yeah, me too. Certainly end of February at the latest, I suspect. If we hit our goals for the next 2 months, we'll have improved visuals, which frankly we already just improved the visuals. We'll have improved visuals, improved destruction, mages, new siege engines, and a whole lot more. At that point, that'll be the time to do another video. On the other hand, if we, in the next 30 days, have a particularly interesting siege going on, we may put up a video about that too. And by interesting, a few hundred people even, running around and firing off siege engines inside the castle as well as outside the castle. They can, inside the castle can fight back too, folks.
We have a clarification on the visibility question.
Oh, good.
They're saying nameplate range is extremely small.
Got it.
Distance is a mess of characters.
Got it. Yeah, that's going to change.
Here's another yes/no. Dr. Derp, faster run speed on roads. Can roads be created and destroyed?
Yes. That was easy. Last question, Max. 5-minute warning.
Last question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 5-minute warning.
5-minute warning. All right, we're looking for a nice one to end with, folks. Looking for a good ending question. This is a classic question, but I don't know that I've ever seen someone ask it this way. Bruno on the YouTube chat asks, how much of an influence is the gameplay of Daok going to have on CU? The PvP and playstyle of Daok is perfect. Are you trying to avoid CU from being too similar, or is that something you're aiming for?
No, that's a good question. So, how much will it have? I mean, it'll have the same impact that any other great game would have on a great game that's coming after it. Are we trying to clone Daok? No, of course not. We've been studiously avoiding cloning it. Even if a lot of the things, or even some of the things, or even only one thing of there was my, contribution. That doesn't matter. When you look at the great games, there's things that were great in 2001, there were things that were great in 1999, and there were things that were great last year. And there are things that were great during those periods that aren't great anymore. So our challenge is not to try to clone Daok. I mean, frankly, I could have. I could have called it a spirit of, and probably gotten away with it. But I thought that would be just, one, disrespectful, and two, just the wrong thing to do. So what we're trying to do is create something that, for today, with everything we've learned over the decades of making MMOs, to make the right game, to make the right system, to try some things that, that are different. What was core, though, about Daok, the concepts of, an RVR game, tie back, let's see, to a question earlier about a small team being able to defeat a larger team. Things like that. Yeah, sure. That is very important to us. Extremely important to us. The spirit of Dayak in the sense of how many races we had, how many classes we had. That was something I was obviously a huge believer in because I was the one who was pushing for it. That we're doing. I'm an alcoholic. I've said that so many times. It goes back to the muds even. So, back for Dayak and even for Warhammer, I wanted to have as many as we could. And I think in this game, because we don't have, as I've said a few times during this, stream, we're not racially or locked by class with armor and weapons. We have more freedom to do additional races. We have, as well, more freedom to do classes. So I think, that part of the spirit of Dayak and other games is absolutely something that we want. Concepts, again, of the Tri-Realm, which, as I've said for decades, came from the great and powerful folks at Kesmai for when they created Air Warrior. And, the Tri-Realm idea is right from there. So I think you'll find that there's a lot of those things that you'll see in Camelot Unchained. And there'll be some things that people have asked for example, realm rank abilities that you don't need in this game because it is the entire game. It's all there. It's all about working up the horizontal, through a horizontal system and getting new abilities and getting new stuff that only come from being involved in RVR. So, we're going to have that. And finally, we're going to have the depths, which is, as much as I, of course, love Darkness Falls, I think with the depths, we're going to have something way cooler. And just wait till you folks see some of the work we've been putting in while we've been, what's the best way, mentoring and testing a new concept artist who may join us. So many definitely crazy and effed up thoughts about depths creatures. Makes my heart go pitter-patter. So really excited, about that. So yeah, I think great question. I think you'll find that there is so much in this game that will be similar in spirit to, again, games like Air Warrior with the Tri-Realm, the dungeon crawlers, and some BSE stuff thrown in to see if it works. And if it works, we keep it, and if it doesn't work, we chuck it out. And since it's all about RVR, since it's all about, fighting other players if you're a combatant as opposed to a crafter, then that is one of the absolutely single most important things of the lessons from a great game such as Dark Age of Camelot, which was RVR is fun, RVR is challenging, and RVR can be something that you want to come, and play, come back to and play, night after night, because it isn't easy. It isn't something that you'll always win. And so, we think that will be the spirit, at least most of it, of this game. So look, having said that, and thank you very much for the great question, having said that, as always, folks, thank you for your patience. Thanks for the support. It's going to be a hell of a year. We have really gotten through some of the worst pains in the ass than we possibly could over the last year. We're starting the year off strong with the testing. You've seen it. We're starting the year off strong in terms of our team. I am really excited about what's coming in the next few months, and I think it's not yet time to get hypey, but I think a couple months from now, you folks can ask yourselves, hey, is this game delivering on what it said they would? And I have very little doubt that the answer will be yes. And with that, I'll say good night, good morning, good afternoon, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all, at least hopefully most of you, next week. Assuming I'm here, I think I'm here next week for the stream. See ya.
See you later.